What is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about my Water Gym Leader Challenge deck. It's one of my favorite decks, if not the most favorite deck I've ever played. And anyways, this deck has seen some success on some online tournaments where I got first place on the second Twin Leaf online tournament, as well as some Cardboard Warrior online tournaments webcam, as well as it's played fairly well at some regionals that I've been able to go to as well. I only get to go to 1 year, but I get to try to play all of them as best I can. I've also won a local league with this deck as well. It is my Wailord Titan deck. This deck was also featured on the most recent Tricky Gym GLC Conquest videos featuring Ben Morris playing the Wailord Titan deck. So I thought that was pretty cool. Starting off, we're going to start with our Pokemon. So we have the Wailord. This Wailord is a very awesome card. This card has 200 HP, big, huge Wailord. I like to call him the Lord or the Whale. Has the ability to jump both sides. This Pokemon does 30. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks after applying resistance and weakness. And then it has the special wave attack where it has for 3 water, 1 colorless, hits for 120 plus. Another 120 if there are any special energy attached to it, which that is pretty hefty. You're hitting for 240 damage as well as 200 HP and taking 30 less damage every time you're hit. This guy can stand some attacks. So he's going to be able to, most of the time, be able to stay in for 2 to 3 turns or like take up 2 to 3 attacks, and not just any attacks. He can take some big attacks, and we'll talk about how we can soak them up later on. But Wailord is going to be one of the main cards that we use in this particular deck. And then from there we have Titan. Titan has 180 HP, has the Icicle Missile for 50, 1 water, 1 colorless. I've only used that attack once ever in the last however long it's been out. It's kind of funny, but actually it's helped me win just that one attack. But then we have the special horn attack, which brings this entire deck together with Wailord. Hits for 80 plus 140, which you're hitting for 220 damage for 3 energy. So both Wailord and Titan hitting for some big numbers. That's why we want to try to figure out how to get special energies, and we'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. But we got this awesome Titan and Wailord combo. It is pretty unstoppable once you get everything set up. Now we're going to talk about the supporter Pokemon. We have Octillery. Octillery has the ability Abyssal Hand. It can pretty much, if you're familiar with Bib Rule, once during your turn before you attack, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. So this is just going to be a consistency card, allowing us to be able to get as many draw cards every turn if need be. Very good in allowing us to be able to just stay consistent with the deck and being able to draw cards. From there we have Frostmoth with the Ice Dance ability. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach a water energy from your hand to one of your bench water Pokemon. It can help us get a Titan or Wailord online pretty quick. It's just a way to accelerate that energy in if need be. Other than that, we'll go over the special energies here in a little bit, but it is very helpful, and it's not as hard getting those 2 big boys set up. After that, we got the all-powerful Inteleon line. We play the 70 HP Sobble, so we can soak attacks. We just like to be out of range of those 60 HP attacks. Then we have the Drizzile, has the ability Shady Dealings. Lets you search for a trainer card in your deck if you play it from your hand to evolve your Sobble. And then likewise with Inteleon, we have Shady Dealings, but it lets you search for up to 2 trainers, which is pretty awesome. But it does have 160 HP, and the Aqua Bullet attack for 1 water, 1 colors, hits for 120 damage plus 20 damage to the bench. So you can use Inteleon not only as an engine to get your deck running, but you can also use it to attack your Pokemon, or your opponent's Pokemon, and just kind of get some extra damage out on the board if need be. Inteleon is a wonderful addition to this deck, and being able to make sure that it stays as consistent as possible. And then we have some of our setup Pokemon or protector Pokemon. So we got the Articuno with the Blizzard Veil ability. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, whenever your opponent plays a supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card done to your benched water Pokemon. So basically you can leave this Articuno in the active and your opponent can't boss up or Guzma up one of your Pokemon on the bench. And if you get that out on the first turn, you can just kind of load that up over that first and second turn, Cold Cyclone, get some damage out, and then be able to feed whether you're Whelmer or Titan, Whaler, whatever you have out there with 2 energy, because you do move 2 water energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. And then we have the Alolan Vulpix. Alolan Vulpix is a must-have in this deck. Has the Beacon attack, search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Amazing setup Pokemon. I like to leave that guy or Articuno out in the active for as many turns as I can, just getting set up. I prioritize setting up over getting early attacks if possible, but always prioritize setup. I think setup is probably one of the most important things to think about whenever you are playing a GLC deck. And then from there, we have our draw supporters. We have our supporters. So we have Iono to, like later on in the game, be able to make your opponent shuffle down, interrupt their hand, and possibly, if they are low on prizes, let them draw to however many prizes that they have and put their hand onto the bottom of the deck. Now, I like you to use Iono to not only just interrupt their hand, but then if they have any important cards that they need, they have to put it on the bottom of their deck. So there's no chance in reshuffling and getting it back into their hand like would N. So N is basically the same thing. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck and then draw up to however many prizes they have. But Iono, you put their hand on the bottom of the deck, then draw. N, you shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw. So depending on the situation, I like to use Iono if I know I don't want them to have anything that they had in their hand again, or if I just want to interrupt and hope, then I use N. Then we have Cynthia. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6 cards. I love Cynthia over Professor's Research because a lot of the time you just don't want to discard anything. Resources in GLC are very important, and you don't necessarily want to discard too much unless if you're a deck that can kind of recycle things pretty well. We can recycle things decently well. I just want to make sure that we're able to get things going without having to discard and then recover them again. And then we have Marnie for just more hand interruption. You both shuffle your hand into your put it on the bottom of the deck. You draw 5, your opponent draws 4. I really love Marnie as an interrupter. And then from there, we have Guzman Halla. Guzman Halla is important on being able to find a tool card, a stadium card, and a special energy card. Special energies are very important to get Titan and Wailord online with their big attacks. And then just being able to get a float stone off of Guzman Halla so you can, get one of those big boys in to the active state, as well as a stadium, being able to get a Rough Seas or a Chaotic Swell early. Can very much help you into the game. Then we got the Malana. Malana is awesome. You can use it to switch a Pokemon from the bench into the active, or you can use it to heal something from the active. You have to discard 2 cards though, which is sometimes a hard decision to make, but you can heal 120 from your active, switch it to the bench, and then if you have that float stone or some way to get back into the active, you basically negate a whole turn depending on the damage that they put out. And it's just really good paired with Titan and Wailord, especially with Wailord taking 30 less damage. If you have a Pot Helmet, which we'll see here in this deck here in a little bit, negate 60 damage there. And then if you have a Rough Seas out, you're negating 90 damage. And then if you're using Malana, you're negating 210 damage. You won't ever have 210 damage on the Wailord because it will be knocked out. But that's just how much damage, when everything rolls together, that you can negate. We got Chorus's Tenacity. Chorus's Tenacity lets you search for a special energy, as well as a stadium card. This is a new card that came out of Shroud of Fable. I've been liking this card. Helps get consistency and being able to find a special energy, as well as just being able to get a stadium out of the deck, whether that be the Rough Seas or the Chaotic Swell. Then we got Bridget, awesome setup card. Let's just look for 3 basic Pokemon, put them onto our bench. Really love Bridget. I don't think I'm going to take Bridget out of this deck ever. Like I said, you want to prioritize setup as best as possible. That's why we have a redundancy of Buddy Buddy Poffin, Bridget, Ball Guy, and then all that search. So we got Ball Guy. That brings us to Ball Guy. Let you search for any net card with a ball in their name. So you're searching quick ball, level ball, dive ball, all those different balls. That's what you're looking for to be able to get your Pokemon up and running. We got Irida, lets you search for a water Pokemon and an item card. Really good card, being able to find a Buddy Buddy Poffin, let you search for any one of these water Pokemon. You can use it to thin the deck from a water Pokemon. You can use it to, if you need to evolve your Satitan, if you need to evolve your Octillery, you can just grab the Irida and boom, you are set up. We got Lucine. Lucine lets us put two in any combination of supporter and steam cards from your discard pile into your hand. That could be your Rough Seas to get it back out again, the Chaotic Swell to get it out again. You can just grab any other supporter out and that you want to use the next turn or in the future. And Lucine is just a really good card and being able to get stadiums and supporters back. We got Ace Rola. Ace Rola here is put one of your bench Pokemon that has any damage counters on it and all cards attached to it into your hand. You can use that to pseudo heal a big Wailord that's taken a lot of damage or a Satitan that's taken a lot of damage and just put that back into your hand. If you have a Frostmoth out, you can just refeed one of your big boys on the bench that were already set up that may not have the energy on there just yet. But that's what this card is for. The Ace Rola, however, is one of the cards in this deck, pretty much one of the only ones in this deck that you can kind of take in, take out, depending on how you're feeling. So this right here, this Ace Rola could be a Manaphy to protect the bench. So we got the Manaphy right here, just has the ability Wave Veil. You can use that to protect the bench, or it can be a Hex Maniac where you want to turn off your opponent's abilities. Just make sure that you're using that after you've used all of your abilities, and make sure also that you're not turning off your Wailord's ability and just, ended up getting knocked out. So you might want to use that wisely, but Ace Rola can be used as Manaphy or Hex Maniac depending on the meta that you're playing at your locals. From there, we have Nessa, lets you put up the 4 in any combination of water Pokemon and water energy, water basic energy from your discard pile into your hand. Really good in being able to get, your Pokemon back out, being able to get your water energy back into the deck. If you have a Frostmoth and you're wanting to load up Satitan or Wailord, Nessa is your girl. Then we got Ryhan. Ryhan, if you got knocked out previously the turn before, lets you accelerate an energy, basic energy from your discard pile, and then lets you search your deck for any card. So a very good card to be able to help kind of get yourself back into the game if you were knocked out previously. Then we have Boss and Guzma. Boss lets you bring up one of your opponent's Pokemon from their bench, and same thing with Guzma, but that lets you switch from the active. Boss and Guzma are very important to this deck, and it's a good redundancy to have in this, especially when you play Drizzile and Inteleon. Those cards can help you find any of these supporters that you see. And then from there, we got all of our Pokemon search. We have our Dive Ball that lets us search for any water Pokemon. We have our Level Ball that lets us search for any Pokemon with 90 HP or less, which can be basically any of your basics besides Articuno and Whelmer. And then also lets you search for, like, let's say a Frostmoth or an Octillery or a Drizzile. It's super, super awesome card that can be used for so many different Pokemon to get you going. We got Nest Ball for any basic Pokemon that we have. We got Quick Ball, discard, find any basic Pokemon. We got Buddy Buddy Poffin. Buddy Buddy Poffin lets you search for any basic Pokemon that's 70 HP or less. So that's your Remoraid, Snom, Sobble, Vulpix. That just helps you get it out there pretty well. There's a bug there. From there, we got Evolution Incense. Lets you search for any evolution Pokemon, whether that be your Wailord, Satitan, your Octillery, Frostmoth, Drizzile, and Teleon. Helps you with your consistency. We got Ultra Ball, basically Evolution Incense, but you got to discard 2. Lets you search for any Pokemon. And then we have Hisuian Heavy Ball, just in case that we prize one of those important basic Pokemon. Then from there, we got VS Seeker. Versus Seeker lets you get any of your supporters out of your discard pile, put it into your hand. A lot of the time, you end up don't putting it in your hand. You just say Versus Seeker, copy, and then name your supporter that you're using. You just got to make sure that that supporter is in the discard pile. Then we got Super Rod that allows us to get back any of our water Pokemon or basic water energy cards, up to 3. Then we have our Rescue Stretcher, lets you shuffle up to 3 Pokemon into the deck, or let you take 1 Pokemon straight from the discard pile into your hand. Very helpful in getting and recycling Pokemon. Aqua Patch lets us take a water basic energy card and put it onto a Pokemon on the bench. One of those good cards to be able to accelerate energy since we don't play the Baxcalibur. We got Capacious Bucket to allow us to look for up to 2 water energy cards. Then we got Scoop Up Net. That way we can get something out of the active, or maybe recycle our Inteleon, use that again, or even pseudo heal this if it permits. Just make sure that when you do Scoop Up Net, that you do have to get rid and discard of all the cards attached. We got Switch Raft. Switch Raft allows us to switch out of the active while healing the Pokemon in the active. Another one of those ways to negate all that damage that your opponent has done previously, as well as just get something out of the active if it's important to. Then we have Escape Rope. Each player switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her benched Pokemon. Your opponent switches first. If player does not have a benched Pokemon, they don't have to switch. So Escape Rope is one of those good cards, and being able to just get, maybe they're trying to stall and give you a Pokemon that you don't want to knock out, but any Pokemon on the bench you do want to knock out. Escape Rope is awesome to be able to use, as long as you have a way to be able to get back into the active again. And then we have our awesome stadiums. We have Rough Seas that heals 30 damage from each of your water Pokemon. And then we have Chaotic Swell, which you put that out, and then to bump it, whenever either player plays a stadium card from their hand, discard that stadium card after discarding this one. So basically it just negates their stadium as well as ours. Very important to be able to use. Then we have our Pokemon tool cards. First off, we have Floatstone. Floatstone gives our Pokemon free retreat in the active. Then we have a Luxurious Cape, which gives our Pokemon another 100 HP, which can give Wailord 300 HP, which can give Satitan 280 HP. You can use this to even give any of these Pokemon an extra 100 HP, but there is a downside. If your opponent does take a knockout with the Lux Cape attack to your active Pokemon, then they take 2 prizes. So just be wise when using the Luxurious Cape. It's just that when you have more HP, depending on what you're using, if you're going against a deck that puts damage counters on, the Luxurious Cape is better than Pot Helmet. Pot Helmet is really good for soaking damage. Luxurious Cape is good for soaking damage counters. So depending on how you want to use that, you can use either one in any situation. Pot Helmet does take 30 less damage from your opponent's active. Pot Helmet does take 30 less damage from your opponent's attacks. Then from there, we have our Special Energies. Special Energy is awesome in this deck because it allows your big boys to hit for them big numbers. But we have Recycle Energy. Recycle Energy is super helpful in allowing us to conserve an energy, as whenever it gets discarded from play, it just goes back into your hand. That way you don't have to worry about it ever just getting, just going away. It always goes back into your hand, unless if your opponent lost zones it. Then we have the Weakness Guard Energy. It just sounds exactly what it reads like. It just takes your weakness away. So if you're playing against a lightning deck, you can put that on your Wailord, and your Wailord is going to be able to soak up all those lightning attacks as if it weren't nothing. So weakness guard is awesome to play. Then we have reversal energy. Sometimes when you play Articuno or Vulpix in the active position for a little while, you can just slip on one of these reversal energies on a Wailord, and you have 3 of the energy cost available. And then on Titan, you can just have 1 reversal energy on there, and it's already attacking. So depending on how many prizes your opponent has taken, reversal energy can do some work, especially on a Titan, because all you have to do is have 1 attached. Then we have a splash energy. Splash energy is awesome because, you know, whenever you do get knocked out, it allows your active Pokemon that get knocked out to go straight back into your hand. So splash energy is very important if you want to conserve Pokemon, or if that's the energy that you have for your Wailord or Titan for that damage modifier. Then we got wash energy. Wash energy is really good in being able to defend against effects of attacks. So whether that be, you know, instant knockout attacks, whether that be damage counter attacks, poison attacks, you can just slip this wash energy on there and it just soaks it up, negates it. You don't have to worry about any of those attacks at all when wash energy is attached. And then from there, we have our 5 basic water energies, just to make sure that we do have enough water energies that we can accelerate with Frostmoth or be able to accelerate with Ryhan. So this right here is the deck. I love this deck. This has been an extremely fun deck to play. I don't see myself putting this deck down at any time. I'm excited to use it more, depending on whenever I'm able to do more webcam tournaments or be able to do more tournaments. But this deck has seen some success, and I am very proud of it, and I love it very much. As you can see, I've been blinging it out slowly but surely. Got some of those more expensive cards that I haven't been able to bling it out with. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, I'll have more deck profiles for you in the future. But other than that, always remember, stay thankful.